Microstrategy has acquired a ton more Bitcoin. CZ and Satoshi have made ridiculous gains in wealth. And Senator Warren continues to demonstrate absolutely no understanding of cryptocurrency. The buzz on pending ETFs continues to drive the marketplace, and some are making big bucks on what appears to be altcoin season. It's the post-Christmas, pre-New Year's in-between space as we gear up for what may be the biggest year in crypto yet. Join us as we bring you the latest news and some jokes that are sure to be in bad taste, at least off color, on our Bad News episode number 706 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
And a belated Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Ramahama Kwanzmas to all of our listeners out there in the Republic of Bad Cryptopia, and to you as well, Sir Lord Travis.
Thank you, Sir Lord Joel Comm. I almost called you Mr. Joel Comm, but then I was like, I was gonna disrespect your high-ranking position.
I'm still a Mister.
It's true.
Just don't call me a sister.
Hey, yeah. So we this is essentially our Christmas episode and our New Year's episode because we're right smack in the middle. And I think you said it's episode 706.
Yeah, 706. Hello, people of Bad Cryptopia. You know, I would imagine that most of our listeners are dudes, so pulling out the dulcet tones might not be the play right now. All right, we got news to cover, gang. We're glad you're here. Let's get right to it here and now. The timestamp is the 27th of December in the year 2023. It is currently 2:53 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. The total crypto market cap, $1.766 trillion. Bitcoin, over 43,000. Keeps going just below, just over, just below, just over. Ethereum, 2347. BNB on a tear, up 20% this week, 311. Solana, okay, I'm going to cry. We'll talk about it in a little bit. 109. XRP, 64 cents. Cardano, 63 cents. Avalanche rounding out the top 10 at 42.5. And Dogecoin wanting to make that play for a dime. Bad.
Look at these ones that have been on the run over the last 7 days. Optimism up 80, almost 84%. Here's a new one in the top 100. Corgi AI, 76%. That thing's been up. When you look at a thing closing in on $1 billion market cap, that's crazy to me. Pancake Swap up 52%. Mina Protocol, we interviewed them not long ago, 46%. That thing's up. Near Protocol's up 36%. Polygon's up 33%. Solana's up 31%. But it's just been absolutely crazy. Also, there's some additional trending ones. One called Tectum, which we had conversations with about a year and a half ago. And they've doubled over the last day. So that thing's up to $19 right now. So that's crazy. They're doing some Bitcoin NFT notes that are basically exchangeable for Bitcoin and whatnot. So crazy to see what's going on in this space right now, Sir Lord Joel Comm.
Altcoin season is upon us. A few losers this week in the top 100, but not many. Helium, Bonk, BitGet Token, Caspa, really no other significant losses. So the market is super hot right now, and there are some changes happening in the Bitcoin and financial world. Primarily right now, Barry Silbert is resigning as the chairman of Grayscale, and he's going to be replaced by a guy named Mark Shifke. This is a big deal because this is one of the organizations that has an ETF in application right now.
Yeah. And the SEC, they have been delaying these, right? So there's been a lot of different, ETFs that have been out there, and they're approaching those deadlines for approval or rejection. And so this could be something pretty big. Like they're talking about that. Here's the thing about that's interesting, and we'll talk about this a little bit later as we go through those tweets. But BlackRock has an ETF as well for Bitcoin, right? And BlackRock is 575 approvals to 1 unapproval in its history, which is crazy. And so it seems to me like we're going to start seeing the favored companies are going to start getting some love and becoming an ETF most likely.
Digital Currency Group is the company that owns Grayscale, which Silbert is the CEO of, and they have been sued by the New York Attorney General. What's her name? Letitia, whatever, the clown show that's trying to do all crazy things
James, I think.
with Trump there in New York. She's saying that they defrauded investors of over $1 billion. Both Silbert and his organization are denying allegations. If the government says it happened, then in all likelihood it's twisted because let's face it, our government might be a little twisted. Can I say that?
You can't.
Are they at the door yet? They coming to get me?
Wall Street used to be the financial capital of the world, essentially, at least in our world. And, the more difficult it is to do things in New York, then the more businesses leave in New York. I mean, it's becoming a shithole, quite frankly.
Speaking of ETFs, this story right here, I'm going to pop up on the screen. By the way, those of you who listen to the show, if you go to our Bad Crypto podcast channel on YouTube, Rumble, or Odyssey, you can see the visuals. This story from CryptoPotato.com. Bitcoin ETF approval set to propel Bitcoin price beyond 50K. TV commercials are already being rolled out by various ETF applicants, a move that will continue to bolster Bitcoin prices. Why? Because the long-awaited mainstream adoption that we've talked about since we started the show in 2017 is just around the corner. This is the move. This is the definitive move towards the very beginning of mainstream adoption for Bitcoin.
Yeah. And they're talking about they're expected to approve their first Bitcoin ETF on January 8th. So that's interesting to see if that's going to happen. That's what they're talking about. And they're saying that there's a unique twist because of money laundering concerns. Unlike traditional ETFs, they're saying these shares can only be purchased with cash as opposed to credit. I mean, I don't know. Normally, when you go buy stuff on stocks, you got to transfer your cash over from your bank account. But I guess what they're saying is you can only do it with cash. You can't do it with any sort of leverage there, which might help the scenario a little bit because if you're buying cash, you're not over leveraging, which could be good.
Right. That means that there's less margin trading, right? Because you have to have the money in the account to cover it. I think with margin trading is where you, and I could be totally wrong here, but isn't that how you end up trading more on paper than actually exists?
Well, it's like, say if you got $10,000 in there and they're giving you additional margin, then maybe you have 20,000 to trade. And so but then if you lose that money, now you got to pay all that money back, right? So some of them, depending on who you're using for your stock trading, will allow you to have some leverage. Others will not. But apparently with these ETFs here, at least the first wave of ETFs, probably won't be able to, but at least they're putting some parameters around it. And they're saying, okay, we got these fences around it. They feel comfortable. You feel comfortable. And then it can grow from there potentially. So we'll see what happens when it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to lead to, it's a convergence right now, Joel, between the halving and this new big bull run and ETFs kind of all happening around the same time. Like it could be historic.
Short term, we're seeing true believers continue to push into buying more. Microstrategy and Michael Saylor have now purchased an additional 14,620 Bitcoin, bringing their total to 189,150 Bitcoin at the current price of $43,000. My calculator cannot tell you how much that is. It errors out. Yes, I still have an old school calculator on my desk that I use for quick calculations, and it doesn't go to that many decimal points. How much is that?
For what?
Say here. How much total? What's the value? $5.9 billion.
$5.9 billion. Yeah.
Okay.
I just did that math real quick in my head.
You're smarter than me.
Wapner at 3.
Yeah.
At 3. Yeah. So, I mean, now there's some people who are going, wow, this ETF, Bitcoin, the ETF could be huge. Other people are saying, this could be a process, according to Trezor's Joseph Tetic, he is saying that this could lead people away from having self-custody of their Bitcoin and create risks of millions of unbacked Bitcoin. So, I think that we're going to have to sort of leverage the pluses and the minuses on this thing to get us to move in the right direction. With these types of things come additional risks. So make sure that if you have your Bitcoin, you put your Bitcoin where it's on something you feel comfortable with.
I saw Max Kaiser saying that this is a honeypot. He thinks that this is going to end up backfiring in general. And, look, the spirit of Bitcoin was to avoid the traditional world financial corrupt, broken systems. And now we're depending upon them to adopt in order to drive, mainstream adoption. And there's no way around it because they're going to do what they're going to do. But in the long term, in the short term, it could be good for making money for people, but in the long term, it could be bad for Bitcoin potentially.
It could be loud. It could be bad for crypto overall because the more hooks that traditional finance gets into the ecosystem, then they're going to be able to control. Because you think about it, BlackRock, they have what, 10, 12 trillion dollars worth of assets. The total market cap for crypto right now is like 1.7 trillion. So they literally could go in and then just funk it on the table, bulk, hey, who's got the big ones now, and kind of impact it in a way. And so there's a lot of greed that happens in crypto. So hopefully we don't see these problems sort of popping up, but it could pop up and be bad overall. But it's just some of these other people have some pretty good ideas on it. Max Kaiser, he's been pretty close and pretty accurate on a lot of this stuff up and down the road. So he probably knows a little bit more than I do because I'm pretty bad.
The new Bloomberg Billionaires Index is out, Travis, and who do we see riding to the top of the wave here?
Look at that. CZ, he's up about $25 billion throughout the year. Right. So he's had some problems with the Department of Justice, but seems to me like he's got $37 billion. Like, excuse me. Woo.
Bless you, sir.
Man, that was crazy. That
Good one.
That came out of nowhere.
I felt that over here. Like the hairs on my neck went up with that sneeze.
Yeah,
it must have been really good for you.
About that. Oh, I feel 3 pounds lighter. and so you're looking at that. CZ, even though he stepped away from Binance, he's up, 25 billion this year. He's sitting at around 37 billion. Satoshi Nakamoto, he holds 1 billion Bitcoin. He's value increased. He's up to about $43 billion now, right? It's crazy to think that CZ is almost as rich as Satoshi Nakamoto, but those 1 million Bitcoins have never moved since the initial mining of those. So once those move, then you're gonna be like, what's going on? We might not see it, but look at how close he's coming up. Like there could be a time where CZ and Nakamoto are worth more than Jeff Bezos.
To this day, not a single Satoshi has moved from Nakamoto's collections of wallets, not one. I have to click this story here that is on bitcoin.com. It's an Elon Musk story. He was quoted as saying, "I don't spend a lot of time thinking about cryptocurrency," which is really interesting to me because he was tweeting about Doge quite a bit. And there's been talk about, X integrating some sort of token into the platform. So for him to not be thinking about it right now is really interesting. Apparently, he said that none of his companies would ever issue a crypto, but that certainly doesn't mean that they wouldn't use it, especially if we're moving towards mainstream adoption. How do you ignore it? How is somebody who is so forward thinking that he's talking about establishing, colonies on Mars, not thinking about the future of the world financial system? I can't make the connection there. I don't understand.
This could be a misdirection as well because he had problems before where he went in and said some stuff about Doge, and then like Department of Justice or the SEC was looking into that, like, oh, look at how much he can move markets. So this isn't good. So you don't want him coming out and saying, oh, I think Doge is going to 100x because we're going to implement it into X and like that could be a total misdirection potentially. And I think that's probably what it is he's just minding his P's and Q's and not saying anything that could potentially get him into issue. But I think when it does happen, it's going to be boom, here it is. He's not going to do a preemptive hype around
it. Well, he's super influential, and the list from Cointelegraph of the top 10 most influential crypto tweets of 2023 is out, and we're nowhere on the list, Trav. I can't believe that we didn't make the top 10 of our tweets.
Yeah.
Probably because A, we're not nearly as influential as people think we are, and B, because it's been all year that I've been paying for Twitter Blue and could not get my verified mark. I have just pages of responses from their premium support asking me the same questions again and again, and then telling me that it takes 4 to 7 days to approve an account. Finally, Travis, I
4 to
got my
7
blue
months.
check. Finally.
Ah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Finally, somebody, a human with half a brain over there. I'm thinking, wow, Elon needs to fire some more people over there because there's some folks that are doing a horrible
Welcome. You
job of
finally, at the
dealing.
end of 2023, you're on board.
Yeah. But
Gary
let's look at
Gensler,
these. What do
yeah,
we
Gary
see here?
Gensler, he has a tweet where he was talking about, staking as a service or lending or other means must provide the proper disclosures and safeguards. That's a boring one, but that's basically they charged Kraken for unregistered offering of security. So imagine that. That was their thing. Do Kwon, he had one. That looks like that's in Turkish or something. I can't even read what that says, but they were going after Do Kwon because he's been able to dodge authorities from South Korea, Singapore, Dubai, Interpol, Mossad, the CIA. I don't know who is he? Did he ever get busted yet? I don't even know.
I don't know. If we did, we covered it, but we're old and our brains don't work
Getting
well, and we've
busted.
forgotten. This is interesting. Kobe, who is a crypto Twitter figure, encrypted a tweet here, and it's a SHA-256 hash. And was anybody able to decipher? Nobody was able to crack the code.
Then he deleted it too. The encrypted message was Interpol red notice for CZ. Okay,
Huh.
interesting.
I'm hearing things. I'm hearing
Ah,
things.
so she's
Patrick Hillman
tweets.
says that one of two things is true. And this is regarding Binance, that it's BS, or there's law enforcement leaking messages about CZ. There's a whole discussion around this thing with Kobe and Coinbase tweets
Well,
from
and think about that.
Binance.
That was April of 2023. That was before Binance and CZ got smacked down and had to leave Binance. So it could have been pretty accurate. I don't know. Seems like it might have been.
Brian Armstrong of Coinbase is, fighting SEC and saying, "Hey, we are the most regulated company in the U.S. market. Back off." BlackRock's tweeting, about the ETFs getting
575
approved.
and 1 of getting their ETFs approved.
That's pretty good, I would say, right there. Also, have you noticed, Travis, that the price of gold, just since it was in one of these tweets here, gold hit an all-time high last month around 2,100. It's at 2,076 right now.
Yeah.
What does this tell you about how people are feeling about the world economies?
Well, I mean, even look at it from back when the gold ETF launched. That's the map right there. If you scroll up just a little bit more, gold price went on an 8-year bull run after the gold ETF was approved. Pow. So if that went from $400 to about $1,600, so that 4x'd. What happens if Bitcoin 4x's, right? And we go from 44,000 to $170,000.
We be
That seems to not
celebrating.
be. That seems pretty logical. Now, if you look at the over on the side, I can't help but looking at ARK. Kathy Wood see short-term effect of spot Bitcoin ETF as sell on the news. So there's some people out there saying, okay, when that ETF happens, you're probably going to see a pop and then maybe sell it there if you're a trader. It's not financial advice, but that's what Kathy Wood's saying.
Yeah, I would imagine that
Kathy
anticipation
Wood.
is definitely driving this, and I do expect things to drop, but I don't expect them to drop very far with my incredibly unsophisticated, acumen here. I do see people taking some profits, but then I see money roaring in. Why? Because all of a sudden these institutions are going to be offering these to all their clients. Well, what's going to happen when they do? When they say, hey, you should put 2% of your portfolio into Bitcoin, well, that's going to drive the price. It's just the writing's on the wall. I don't see how you get around this.
Yeah. So, BlackRock, and they did their Bitcoin, their Bitcoin ETF filing for that. They're also filed for Ethereum ETF, right? So I've not heard of too many Ethereum ETFs out there or even conversations around that. But if that thing starts going, That's why I put some money in the stock market to sort of invest in some of these, because it would seem to me that that's what, as a personal thing that I want to do, is like, I have a feeling that if Bitcoin's blowing up, then probably those are going to blow up too, potentially. And so I'll put a little bit in, not too much of my overall, but I'll put some in that and play around with it.
So much in the crypto world, it seems dependent upon regulation. And the good news is that our Congress didn't do a whole lot this year to make progress in that arena. I figure, people freak out when they say government's going to be shut down. I'm like, good, shut it all down. They're not helping. They're not helping anybody. Even the programs that are designed to help usually end up having the opposite effect, with some minor exceptions. And there are a few bills that have been introduced. And do you want to highlight a couple of those, Trev?
Well, I do think that the efforts to block the CBDC is good, right? Because Tom Emmer and some other Republicans, they introduced the Central Bank Digital Currency Anti-Surveillance State Act to prevent the Fed from directly offering a CBDC to individuals and then using it for monetary policy, which we can start to see the beginnings of what's going on with that, like in Canada, right? They just have approved, we're going to give $2,000 a month every month to everyone in Canada. Okay, wow, good luck with that. And they're probably doing it. They're probably going to do it through some sort of digital currency, because they're creating it out of thin air. And so, gosh, with Canada being right there, that's going to start freaking out some liberals, going, "Where's our CBDC?" Just like whenever, like, for example, I believe it was yesterday, Newsom in California has raised the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour. And you wonder why, when you go to McDonald's and you're like, "Oh, this will be $67.14. Like, wait, what? How is that possible? Why is our food so expensive? Like, well, we're going to just have kiosks here, and we're going to have AI robots making your food,
right.
And you're not going to have a job, right? Yep. So it's just
$20 to flip a burger,
man.
$20 to flip a shitty burger. To flip, it's you just called it food. It's not food.
It's plain broiled, bro.
It's not food, dude. It's not food. Stop eating that crap.
I do like the breakfast. That's the only thing that I would ever have. Like, I love that sausage egg McMuffin.
Make your own, man. We started making our own here. Like, instead of the frozen stuff that you buy in the package, like, make what you're getting, make your own. So much more delicious.
You can make it.
Oh yeah. I make you come back to PR, we'll make you a better egg McMuffin.
I like McMuffins. That's good. Good deal. Also, Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, she's criticizing crypto firms for hiring ex-government employees. Really? That's pretty much, is there any industry that makes rules or regulatory shit in the Congress that doesn't go to, it's like, it's a revolving door. It's not just crypto. It's very minimal in crypto, but my God, this is the military industrial complex and the financial system, the freaking the food system. Like, all of these industries are revolving doors, because the lobbyist will pay lots of money, and then guess what? Then those people leave their job, then they come and get their payoff, or they get their payoff and then they take a government job. It's unbelievable.
All right, I don't want to look at her face anymore. Let's talk about meme coins and altcoins. Solana has passed XRP as the 5th largest crypto because of meme coins. Now, because I am not a financial advisor, I capitulated last year. I thought we were going down more, and folks, I found the bottom. Literally sold at the bottom, including my Solana, because I didn't like what I was seeing with Solana. I thought, Solana, the chain goes down too often. They've got all kinds of problems. It's highly centralized.
It's so tied to FTX, and
I'm like, I'm out. And I left a lot of money on the table, because the thing has gone boom and taken off. And
it went from over $20, I think, whenever I sold, to over 100. I saw it at almost 120 bucks the other day.
Yep.
That's crazy. 6x missed out on, but
it's not look, if we're just beginning this run, it's going to go up a bunch more. People are in, they're in, whether it's a good chain or not, they're in.
Here's the deal. The meme coins that are popping up right now on Solana is why people are buying Solana, to get in so they can go buy these meme coins. And Bonk, we heard about Bonk last week. We talked about it. Bonk went up ridiculous, all the way up into the top 100. And there's some other tokens that are popping up. It's almost like shitcoin extravaganza that used to happen on Ethereum and Binance. Now it's hit Solana and it's hitting right at the beginning of this bull run. So if you're paying attention to some of these and you're watching it, you probably can make some big money. But I mean, that's not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go and do it. I'm just saying there's some big money that's going to be made in Solana through these shit coins. These meme coins are blowing up. So if you get in at the right time, get out at the right time, these whole ecosystems are pumping and dumping in ways that we haven't seen since probably 2021.
Well, I found the bottom. Now, if I could find the exact bottom, I think I could find it close to the top. And this time I'm watching and would encourage all of you to look at the trends of what happens. And after we get into the frenzy and we hit all-time highs again, assuming we do, when everybody's saying it's going up more, when there is full frenzy in the mainstream and everybody and their grandma is saying it's going up more, that traditionally has been the top. That is the exit point. And so, I and many others that I know here in Puerto Rico we're going to be tracking this closely. And the question then becomes, well, what do you go into with your profits? Do you go into fiat, which is devalued, by the day and could crash, and all of a sudden your profits go down? Do you go into metals? Do you go into real estate? How do you diversify? And the bottom line is ultimately nothing is completely safe. There's risk.
Well, people used to go into real estate as a really good investment, but now, historically, real estate's always been great. Oh, there's always going to need to be office space. People are going to need to have a job there. But now, with everyone working remote, or a lot of people working remote, like a lot of that big commercial real estate's not even a great option. We're seeing a lot of places just completely empty, right? And then Amazon has killed a lot of other places, right? $20 an hour minimum wage is going to kill additional places. And so it's just kind of wild. What do you do? But you keep an eye on it. Nothing goes up forever. And then, as Joel said, when grandma goes, well, Sonny, I think Bitcoin's going to continue to go on up to the moon. And then that's when you go, no, Granny, I'm selling my shares. And so just keep an eye on that. But this is an opportunity. This right here, I would say this, folks, the next 18 months, most likely are going to see some driving that we've not seen in a long time. And so this is time that you want to start paying attention. You want to tune in to Bad Crypto. You want to tell your friends to tune in, because we're keeping an eye on this stuff, not only with crypto, Joel, but also we're watching some things that's going on in AI.
Yeah, let's transition over to that here on the Cointelegraph magazine. They've got an article here which we're going to look at, but you can also see the show notes links that have it on our website at badco.in/706. This is the top AI tools of 2023. The story here that catches my was right above it, though, that AI failed to win a writing competition. This student submitted, actually a professor at this university in Beijing submitted a novel that was created with AI, and I guess it won a National Science Fiction Award honor, but I guess it's not as good as they thought it was.
Well, and it's also in Chinese, so they might be using a Chinese version of their AI, not ChatGPT or one of the large language models that we maybe put together. But I think that, there's a Quill. Look at that. Yeah. I think Quillbot's probably my daughter's favorite tool, because she can take her ChatGPT's large language results, put them into Quillbot, make it sound a little bit more human. So she's loving that.
Imagine this, by the way, after they made commentary here, Quillbot, a paraphrasing tool that Harvard's Claudine Gay probably wishes she'd used. So imagine a world that we live in now where you can make outwardly anti-Semitic comments before Congress, and then have it discovered that you paraphrased some of your papers that plagiarized that you used in college, and the board does not fire you. Imagine that world. That is the world that we now live in.
Well, she's in the preferred class of people, so she gets a little extra. I don't know. It seems to me, though, that they should fire her, because if not, you're going to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Harvard graduates who are embarrassed of their.
Well, they already are, and people are pulling funding, and they got so much money anyway. It's crazy.
They got such a huge dowry over there, dude, of billions. That's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of really good tools in here, including one I've never Janitor AI. It's an unfiltered large language model that appears to be mostly used to create porn bots. Never even heard of it.
Have
But
you
look it
heard
up.
of Hugging Face?
Love Hugging Face. Hugging
Yeah.
Face is spectacular because it has all of these different tools that other people are building on top of these other tools. So it's like, yeah, you can normally see things there first, and then they get built out into their own sort of platform or their own tool. So kind of good.
You know, I've always wanted to write my novel. Maybe I should just get AI to do it for me. I know you've been working on it here consistently with Cornutopia. And what's the status of that? How's that coming along?
So the we are on the 6th chapter now. So I think I built six chapters that people have access to, working on the next chapter. And book.io is just so busy, it's hard to get him to churn it out, to get him to deliver it. So it's been one of those things where it's like, I think book.io is benefiting from their success. They have a lot of stuff they got going on, and so it's just taking a little bit of time to get those additional chapters going out. What I think I'm going to do here is just generate and create, because I have all of the tools that I need now. The problem was at a certain point was I didn't have enough token character memory within my GPT large language model to be able to say, here's my definitive truth, here's what I want to accomplish, and then start generating, because I would run out of space and I'd have to retrain it. So I had to kind of put a pause on it a little bit to get it to the point where we can do better. And now that we have ChatGPT, that you can create your own GPTs, now I got a corn GPT that I'm working through to be able to help me generate the rest of this. And so I'm going through, working with the community, making it as good as possible, then generating it and sending it out. So it'll be done. I'm going to finish it in 2024. That's the goal here. I think the technology is good enough. And now, man, we can take these characters and animate them and make them do cool stuff.
Right.
It's almost like, it's just like, now that's probably the next step, is going in using like Runway ML or some of these other ones, Pika Art, taking some of these really cool characters that have been created and then generate them and make them do stuff, which could be fun.
So cornutopia.com is where you guys can check that out. Finally, let's end up here with Nansen's Research's high conviction bets for 2024. These are things that they think that the consensus is, a probability is high that these things will happen. Number one, a world where AI agents become primary users on the blockchain is not so far off. So that'll stop me from making bad decisions. With trading.
Well, what's also interesting too is that utilizing AI to help you identify finances, right? Like, oh, this right here, oh, look, a double top has just happened on this one. This might be a good, like, taking the candlesticks, right, and different sort of patterns and different things to identify it, to help you make better decisions in crypto. I think that's going to be something. And it says this as well: intent-centric apps will address user experience and other pain points. That seems pretty helpful. This right here is a bigger one, I think, is the DEXs. This is going to be a better year when the decentralized exchanges gain market share from those centralized exchanges, which back in the day, that used to be the case, right? When we were, what was that one?
Ether Delta.
Ether Delta. My God, that was so early on in the decentralized exchange game. And then you got the fourth conviction, Joel, which I think is probably going to be a big driver of the space moving forward.
Yeah, Bitcoin drives everything. Bitcoin, the biggest and most trusted cryptocurrency, will be used to secure other use cases than just simple transactions. And whether or not that was part of Satoshi's original vision or not really doesn't matter, because people, devs have jumped in, and this is why we've seen such a rise in the NFT space in Bitcoin ordinals, putting, NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. And I got in there pretty early with us, Travis. We've got two ordinals, two inscriptions of NFTs. I put Genesis on there. The sketch version of Genesis of the Blockchain Heroes is on there as an inscription. And we have a Bad Crypto Podcast inscription as well. And don't have that linked up here, but we talked about it previously. I think the NFT market, people are asking me about this, is going to come back strong along with the crypto market. I think that we've just begun to see the possibilities with NFTs, and maybe the era of PFPs as it was is over. That's what some people say. I would challenge that. I would think that identity on the internet is still a big thing, and while static PFPs might not be all the rage, I think we're going to start seeing, AI generated avatars that are animated or dynamic, that it will be in the form of NFTs.
And that's just one of, 70 different potential NFT sort of use cases, right? So the PFPs is just one small thing that people use to kind of, as you mentioned, oh, I got a cool identity with this. I have this pudgy penguin, or I have this, different PFP. Great. But there's so many other ones. And we're going to start seeing a lot of stuff popping up with BRC20 tokens, right? There's already $84 billion in trading volume on, BRC20s. And there's some infrastructure projects popping up like Track and Mubi. Those have performed pretty well. And so I think things that are built on top of Bitcoin, where you're maybe earning Satoshis instead of creating your own shit coins, creating ways that people can earn Satoshis along the way, sort of like Fountain, Fountain.fm, the podcast app, that you can actually earn Satoshis while listening to Bad Crypto. And that's a pretty cool tool. And I think we're going to start seeing more things like that, Joel.
I do as well. And so we're glad that you guys were able to join us this week. Please tell others about the Bad Crypto Podcast. Now 6.5 years into the show, we're glad that you've joined us for this ride. Reviews would be great if you want to go over to iTunes or wherever and give us a 5-star review. The more cheeky your review, the better, and more likely that we'll read it on the show if it makes us chortle, guffaw, or otherwise laugh. And we'll catch you the next time around, which should be next weekly in the new year. So until then, stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.